Aquarius community. Soul Tiger is here with a special story for this wonderful frequency. What we call in the angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and divine and universal energy to be present in this sacred space. So some key words here for the Aquarius frequency. Taking one step at a time to win the gold. No need to overexert yourself for this win. Know that that rest and recovery is just as important. Not every day has to be a day you challenge yourself. Just know that some days are meant to be taken easy. Ooh-wee. Aquariuses. Talk about above and beyond type of energy. When Aquarius is dedicated to something, they give it their all. They don't hold back. Something here you're at odds ends with is friendship. Maybe it is time for you to take a little break. And when a friend asks you to hang out, to go on an adventure, maybe say, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Instead of always sticking to the grind. There's something here we're also confused about when it comes to our passion. This is a lot of orange energy, which is sacral energy. Sacral, when it's out of balance or say it's closed off, it's lack of creativity, emotional instability, social dysfunction, and fear of change. And there's something coming up too. I'll tell you, when I was cleansing out your card, there's a lot of movement towards something happening, but this movement is coming towards the Aquarius frequency. Something you're not aware of or you're not seeing is awareness. Definitely you feel like you could be oversensitive right now. Something has piqued your senses, and maybe you're trying to go through the different energies around you to figure out where it's coming from. That could be a thing too. Hope. Don't give up hope. Whatever it is that you are taking the steps to, when it's time to slow down, it doesn't mean that it's not there for you. Just know that slow and steady wins the race. We got polarity. Trusting in the polarity of things, the yin and yang, the way the divine flows when it comes to karma. Ooh, that's interesting that I got karma in there. I feel like there is a lot of good karma coming your way, especially if you've been working hard. So something you're also confused and you're at odds ends with is being able to delight and the little things that you have around you. Maybe it's you're always running from one task to another, and you could be such a busy body that it's hard to enjoy the fruits of your labor, kind of thing. Intuition. There's a reason why your awareness is peaking at this time. You could be leveling up in your intuition abilities, maybe leveling up when it comes to how you're interpreting certain things that are coming in. And last thing here is partnership. Oh, maybe, Aquarius, you've been working really hard throughout your life to try and solidify certain ways, certain things in your career. It could have been your family. It could be some kind of, even in community, just somewhere where you frequent, where there's others. Maybe it's a place where you volunteer. Maybe it's a place where you hang out. And maybe because of your past, you've had a lot of foes that weren't really friends, even though you could have been passionate about things. Maybe this new awareness is coming into new people that you've been meeting recently. You know, maybe these people give you some kind of hope when it comes to the polarity of things and trusting in the journey. Maybe you are starting to meet certain members of what they say is your soul tribe. What it is you could be meeting people who are at a higher level. And when you start to extend to different levels in life, it's a whole new set of people at each level. That could be something as well. There is stuff that's incoming, so you're probably going to end up meeting some more people. Honestly, this is what I'm getting. I just hear the word community, something about community. So let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into the present now that we just did this intro. Ancestor spirit guides, what needs to come out for the present for the Aquarius community? Some things might be feeling a little tricky for you. It could be maybe some social stuff that's feeling a little tricky for you when it comes to socializing. Maybe different partners, different people that we're meeting when we are socializing. Ooh, hold on. I do this like this. All right. So, I mean, if we have an Aquarius who's doing the steps to say conquer certain things in their lives, definitely it's going to bring new things about, new people, new places into your timeline. Because sometimes people think that our timelines just shift on their own. A lot of them shift because we make big shifts in ourselves. So we can shift ourselves out of one timeline and into another in a sense, but it comes at the expense of being able to heal things, being able to forgive things, being able to open up, say, certain chakras that have been closed, stuck for so long. So we're going to start with the first card over here that falls at the biggest distance. Definitely we have the Hierophant here. Something may come about and you may see it, but you may not believe it right away. You might not believe in it. I'm hearing you could be very, very, very skeptical about something. And when we have the skepticism, it's because it's coming from a Page of Pentacles kind of view. An older view that we use to create the stability in our lives. You know, it's kind of like a part of the view where we make our decisions to make sure that we have the most stable way of going, you know, to avoid the chaos. Sometimes, say, with a person who's not looking for the dime a dozen, they would turn down every Tom, Dick, and Harry so that they could get to their ideal person. So something may come in and you might be like, man, you might be a dime a dozen energy, you know. It could be something that makes you feel like it's just a corporation kind of thing. It could be with a person, place, or thing. Whatever it is, it's gonna come in. That's what I know. And this Four of Cups, honestly, it's been something that you've been waiting for. Something that you had to work towards yourself. Something that when you started working towards it, it definitely took trust. It took trust in making sure that that process can happen. And it took a lot of working. Working on yourself, working on what you bring in. Working on even how you present yourself through the different extremes that you've been through, different extremes with people, places, and or things that you've been faced with in your life. You know, some of those things that were there that really made you question your passions, question the things that you've known, the things that you've learned along the way. What I'm saying is you will have people who will challenge your healing, who will challenge your personal intellect into your journey, into your path. You have a lot of people who like to be very over dominating when it comes to their view. So their view is the only view and your view needs to hit the highway kind of thing. And these could have been challenges that you've been overcoming, is not letting people overrule you, knowing that you need to see, in order to have the light, you do have to have the dark. So whatever challenges you meet, you're starting to learn to face them head on. But you're not facing them like they're facing you. You're facing them more with pure intentions and wanting to move forward, not out of like revenge and trying to get even with people. That's what I'm getting. Sometimes you can be very confused. Very confused on how strong you are, Aquarius. You know, the places that you've gotten yourself out of, you know, and the work that it's took to overcome a lot of chaoses in your life. And you know, this is something that you haven't learned how to delight in. This is something that you, if you can learn how to delight in some of your successes, it's definitely something that could bring in this nurturing kind of energy for yourself. It could also be what I'm hearing, like a revitalizing kind of energy, bringing some more chi into you, cleansing out, taking time for yourself. I always tell my clients now, in order to combat stress, we need to take care of ourselves. And just remember, in order to have recovery, we need to rest. Then I have this Knight of Cups. Confused on offerings. Confused on offerings. When it comes to the way we go, it could be with others, or the way others have came in and out of our lives from the past until now. And this is something that, you know, we need to really look into our intuition with. If definitely you've been developing your intuition, then going into these past phases of yourself, I almost want to say past selves of yourself, excuse me, but these past phases, and looking at those situations back then with the intuition that we have now, and really filling out what was going on. That's something that could really help the Aquarius here. Something that you are confused on. And again, this is where you need to use your intuition on your journey, is how you have been achieving your wish fulfillments. You've been making it from point A to point B. You know, there's something within you that you've had to follow when everyone was telling you were wrong. And that is freaking amazing. Being able to delight in that, being able to create awareness in that, you know, being able to still hope that there's still more to go on this journey, not because the journey is here to punish you, but there's still places to conquer, places to get to that you're meant to be at, kind of thing. And it honestly, it has to do with these partnerships. It's going to have to do with another, whether it's a person, place, and or thing. It's something that I don't know if you discontinue it as it's not possible, or maybe you discontinue it. I see a clock. So maybe you feel like time ran out on certain things for you. I know the older that we get, when we start to get into our later 20s and into our early 30s, and when we get into our later 30s, we start to look at the structure of our social groups, and we start to prune and trim at these social groups. And sometimes when you have leveled up out of a very low frequency where you've been at, these low frequencies in these social groups, these friends, these family members, these partners, they don't come with you because they're not ready to level up. So when you level up, it's kind of, you're looking around again like, who's going to be there? Who am I going to meet that's going to match this type of energy? Again, when it comes to a person, place, and or thing. But let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into the block, Aquarius. Let's see what needs to come out. Maybe we will get a peek at what it is that we need to confront. Why it is that we always think we have to be busy in order to make it to all of our goals. Again, yes, being busy, being motivated is really good, but just know giving yourself time to rest is definitely going to help you recover. So let's call in our angels of protection. Angels of protection. What is it that needs to come out for the block? And please keep us protected as we explore the Aquarius's block here. A lot's coming out. I shouldn't have done that. But I wanted to get to this one. Hold on, because we had one flip out like that. All right, so you're definitely juggling between two things, two sides of things. Maybe you're juggling between the past self and things that you did in the past, and you're juggling between where you're going now and who you want to be now. That could definitely be a thing right here. Something that you try and keep at a distance here. Eight of Cups, you've had to walk away from things, maybe a lot of different things throughout your life, maybe a lot of different people, places, and it was all to try and get to somewhere better. And that somewhere better wasn't just an outside environment. This had to do with your inner environment, I feel like. Then we have this Empress here, definitely trying to get to the things that we love. What do we want to love? We want to love celebrating with people. We want more people to celebrate with that are birds of a feather type of energy here. But for some reason, you feel like there's just not too many people to celebrate with. After you've been unblocking yourself, you're trying to unblock yourself because, again, you wanted to get out of the cold with things that had you held down, things that were not completely honest, things, that you had to endure that were nightmares. Let's face it, not everybody has a perfect past. Not every situation that we go through is perfect, and a lot of stuff, when it's rough, when it's traumatic, it haunts us for years to come, and it definitely weighs really heavy on the decisions that we make when it comes to certain partnerships, maybe even a way of seeing partnerships, a way of seeing foundations being built with others. So there's something here about that. It's definitely a lot of you having to do a lot of things on your own, I feel like, Aquarius. And it's something that you've been stuck in. Maybe you've gained so much independence, Aquarius, along your journey because at one time you seen that you really couldn't depend on anyone. Maybe there was just your journey where it was a lot of you having to forge your way by yourself. I know I just did Geminis, and Gemini, what was spoken in their story is because they had to work for everything, because they never got handouts, they were able to build a resilience and endurance that not many others have. So just know, Aquarius, if you've been this trailblazer who's been off having to do a lot of stuff by yourself to get out of toxic communities, the thing is, you were strong enough to do that. Think about all the people who chose to stay doing the same think, never believing that they could do more. Those are people who are not reaching towards their wish fulfillment. Those are also people who are not following their intuition. Those are people who don't have hope for something more, who can't trust in this journey, trust in the divine messages, trust when their inner being is saying, hey, this is not the place for you. Just know that it takes a great amount of strength to always keep hope, especially where there's times that you felt like things were hopeless. Just know that. To still keep believing there is more when you've had a past that wanted you to believe in only that is something that you can't buy that type of hope. You can't buy that type of strength. You can't buy that type of wanting to be able to follow some kind of hidden guidance. This is why you never given up. Even though there's times you didn't understand why you kept doing what you were doing, there was a certain awareness in you that told you that this wasn't for you, that hey, it's only dark here, you only have one side of things, we need to bring you to the other side of things so you can rebalance out. So just know that it takes a strong person to be able to do the journey that you have been embarking on. And it takes an even stronger person to not give up the whole time. Like I said, to keep that hope. So some other things that we have here is we need to balance a rebirth. We need to balance a rebirth when it comes to others. How we view others, maybe how we celebrate others. Yeah, it's hard to be the one who's so different from the rest. It's hard to be the one who's the oddball out sometimes because we see life so differently, because we're not mere sheep. But maybe that is something to celebrate with you. Maybe that is something that you should see as you being able to balance yourself out, because there was no balance when you followed the crowd, is there? But when you're able to embark on your own adventures, when you're able to, how do I want to phrase this? When you can give evenly to others instead of withholding, it's something that's really beautiful. So this is something that comes into your relationships right there. You want relationships that are of even currency, whether with people, places, and or things. But there's something here that you need to balance out when it comes to your view. When it comes to your view on how you can celebrate with others. Yes, Aquarius, you are very, very unique. And yes, not everybody understands it. But maybe that's something also to celebrate, because you're not blending into the crowds. Maybe that's something that you are a trailblazer in, and being able to see that you can show people that it's safe to express yourself. Maybe that's a part of the rebirth, is seeing how you can awaken people into being more authentic with themselves. And that is something that is a very big gift of yours. Until you are able to overcome being, how do I put this? I told my coworker this the other day. She's a Leo, a hardworking Leo. And holy moly, my education was like, it was just a smidgen compared to her education. I'm not gonna lie. I say smidgen wise because she paid a whole lot more than what I paid. She did a whole lot more hours than what I did when it came to the types of educations we chose and the field that we're in. And one day I told her, I looked at her and I was just like, is it so, how did I put it? I told her this statement. I go, you know what? It is really hard to be smart. And because she's in a place where it doesn't meet her quality of education. That's what I can say. So the things that she sees, the things that she wants to bring up, because it's such a lower level environment where she's at, she's having a hard time in there. And I've noticed with my level of education, when I try and approach people who are in the same field but don't see things from my level of education, it's hard to talk to them. It's hard for them to understand the way I operate and why I see things the way I see things. And see, for you, it could be your level of education, but it also could be just the way you vibrate, the way that you see the world. And people don't understand that. A lot of people aren't operating from that level. If you're operating from a high level of compassion, if you're operating from the level of having a really big heart, if you're operating from the level of living in your truth, a lot of people don't do those three things. They don't live at those extremes right now. I'm not saying it's everybody, but there's a good portion of people out there who are sucked in, and they live a false image. They live a false image that they attach themselves to material goods. They attach themselves to other things. And they use different kind of coping mechanisms to kind of escape their realities. Whereas you, this trailblazer, from then until now, have been learning how to live in more of your authentic self, finding ways on how to balance out yourself, how to still have hope, where everyone who's given up hope is now using escapism. You took that hope to keep going up. You took that hope to keep climbing the mountains that you needed to climb to get you to this point now. So do not give up. Do not give up. There is something in store for you. I don't know what it is, but what I can say, it is of matching energy because of this Empress being here. There's something here of matching energy that's going to come in. Now, I can't say when. I can't say where. I can't say who. I can't say how. Because the only way you can get to this point is by rebalancing yourself out on your views on the public, on people in general. I know people can suck sometimes. Seems like majority of the public can suck, but as I tell people, sometimes go in the comments of something that sounds really crude and gross and that makes you want to give up on society, and you just might be amazed at how many people are thinking like you're thinking, how many people are not sucked into being sheep kind of thing. So don't give up yet when it comes to others, Aquarius. Alright, so we're going to move forward. I have our white light oracle here. I always say with the white light oracle, we do this deck just for confirmation here. So we're going to see if we can get 3 cards from this deck to pop out. Let's call in divine and universal energy. What are 2 more cards that need to pop out? What is the last card for the final message? Last card for the final message for the Aquarius community. We're going to go one last one. There it is. Ooh-wee. Aquarius, Aquarius, Aquarius. We can be stubborn, but we don't have to be set in our ways. Just know that that is a choice. So we have a queen here. We have number 5. Whew. A mighty queen here. Then we have 21. Seraph of 900. And what is that? 63 hertz. Look at that. Going within. Going within type of energy. Filling out from within when it comes to how to interpret things. 37. Oracle of Chad LD. Chad LD. Thank you for your patience with me and my English. So let's start with number 5. All right, number 5. Where are you? Queen of the Nagas. A sacred task exists for you to fulfill. It is to be found through the connection to your heart. Be open to those most authentic teachings which prove helpful to your continued spiritual progress and personal freedom. Cleansing your body, mind, heart, and soul will be of particular benefit at this time. Powerful, subtle energies are helping ensure your success. Believe that many positive synchronicities and unexpected allies will rally to support you. Ooh, remember, cleansing is really going to be important here. So let's go to 21. All right, Seraph of 963 hertz. Practice connecting to the joy that is always deep within you. Pay attention to what brings you to exquisite delight. If you don't know what that is, you are guided to experiment and explore. Connecting to the joyful capacities of your heart will heal so much negativity and uncertainty. Let your heart relax. Allow the spiritual grace that wishes to reorder your life to manifest its miraculous magic. Ooh-wee. Rebalancing, using that heart chakra to heal. Heart chakra is very powerful, and I've read in Texas that it can heal, in books I should say, not Texas the state, but like textbooks. All right, so we have 37 here. Continue on your healing journey with enthusiasm, but without forcing things to happen more quickly than feels natural. Sometimes the body will be ready to let go, while the mind is still holding on. At other times, the mind may need to be patient as the body processes an experience. Trust in your own timing and rhythm. There's no need to be impatient or to judge yourself. You are summoning the spiritual fortitude to tackle an issue which has previously held you back. When the time is right, the healing shall happen more easily than if you try to push forward prematurely. Things are going to work out. Be positive. Like I said, there's a lot of energy, something that's coming in, something, that's affected things in your past when it comes to your passions and different people that you've been aligned with. There's definitely, you're feeling some energy shifting with this awareness, and it's time. It's time to see the polarity things. Seeing the polarity in things, especially when it comes to partnerships. Seeing that we can have this trust. We can have this hope. What can we have this trust and this hope for is to rebalance things out. To bring in a rebirth when it comes to the things that we juggle, how we look back at the past, but we're still trying to move forward when it comes to people, places, and things. Being able to see the delight and us getting to a lot of our wish fulfillment, a lot of our goals that we've been climbing mountains for ourselves. But just know that you've gotten yourself unstuck from certain situations because you had to be that trailblazer, conquering the chaos. Again, when it came to certain people, places, and or things. But you've been working so hard to face these nightmares on your own. Now it's time to heal in a direction where we can be fair with ourselves, fair with how we believe in things, knowing that what has happened in the past doesn't have to make our future. When it comes to any other offerings coming in, remember, cleansing out, taking time with yourself is gonna be a really, really big medicine here. Just know, yes, you've dealt with people in the past who wanted to make you feel like a fool, who always told you were wrong, even though you could feel in your intuition something else was going on. There was a truth here. But just know you've made the moves from then and now with those people to get yourself out of the cold with things. Just don't leave yourself stuck, feeling like everything's gonna be like what it once was before type of thing. That's a part of this healing. All right, Aquarius, this is gonna conclude it. Remember, taking your time, filling it out, and healing is never something that we rush. It comes in at its own divine timing when we are ready. This is gonna conclude it. Alrighty. So don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides for coming in and helping out. And as always, Aquarius, I hope that you have a most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.